Welcome to the show about all things making music, from the creative process and workflow to gear and recording techniques. I'm your host, Brian Funk, musician, producer, Ableton certified trainer, and author of the 5-Minute Music Producer. Let's learn to become better music makers. Welcome to the Music Production Podcast. How's it going, everybody? Today I'm speaking with DJ, professor, author, and artist coach Amani Roberts. Amani teaches music business at Cal State Fullerton and helps artists reach their creative dreams. Amani is the author of DJ's Mean Business and The Quiet Storm, a historical look at R&B groups. Amani and I had a great discussion about the challenges artists face from creating music to releasing it and sharing it with the world. Amani has some powerful insights that can help musicians develop a strong body of work while making consistent progress in their work. Please welcome Amani Roberts to the Music Production Podcast. Welcome, Amani. Nice to have you here today.
Thank you very much, Brian. I'm excited to be here and chat with you.
Yeah, I'm picking up on your enthusiasm right away. It's something I noticed in some of the video work that you have posted online. And I guess that's got to be a crucial role if you're going to be an artist, if you're going to be a producer, if you're going to be somebody that's trying to share things with the world. If you're not enthusiastic, it's going to be tough to find people to become enthusiastic for you.
I would agree. It would translate very quickly to people if you weren't enthusiastic about your artwork, for sure. Yeah.
I think even a lot of the artists that come across as kind of just the artist, this isn't important. They do really deeply care, just to even get to that point, to even share any kind of art with the world.
Yeah, because when they share the art, they put themselves out there for people to love it, hate it, criticize it. Remember what Erykah Badu said? She said, "I'm an artist and I'm sensitive about my, stuff." Paraphrasing. So yeah.
It's kind of funny though, because you have to develop a really thick skin as well, because I don't know of too many other lines of work where rejection is just kind of the norm. It's really most of what people will see, or if they're lucky, I think probably even indifference is really the big one.
Indifference is worse. Rejection, consistent rejection, is what I would add to what you said, because for every 99 no's, you might get one yes, but you never remember the yes, you always remember the no's. And then when you meet people who don't even respond or don't even care, that hurts even more. Because indifference, I think they say hate is not the opposite of love. It's really indifference, so to speak. So that kind of relates to that.
Yeah, I've heard that too. It's not hate. It's just no feeling at all.
Yeah, that's worse. Yeah.
Because a lot of good art is polarizing. Some people love it and other people, they don't get it. They don't like it. It rubs them the wrong way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So you've got some experience in the business as an artist. Do you want to tell us a little about how you got to where you are? And now you're coaching, you're speaking, you're helping artists with their art.
Yeah.
So you don't come out of nowhere with this. You've got the chops to back it up.
Yeah, thank you. It wasn't an overnight success. Really started as a DJ, probably now almost 20 years ago in LA. Just DJing local spots, and then a close friend of mine told me I should go to Scratch Academy to learn really the real way how to DJ. So I went to that program and went through 6 plus an extra semester because I failed one of my final classes. So I had to retake it, which was quite humbling but very rewarding. Then I went back to Scratch Academy for music production school, and then all the way still performing, getting to bigger venues, concerts, and then private events, which was really, good. And then I went to Berklee College of Music, get my master's in music business because I was a professor and I love being a professor. And then, after that, just continuing to grow, wrote 2 books, which is on the subject of music. One was basically taking the time slots of a DJ set and relating it to growing a business. That was the first one that came out in 2020. Then I wrote a book on the history of R&B groups, which came out a year ago. That made the USA Today bestseller list. And then just still performing. And now I'm more into like speaking. I bring music to the stage, and then I coach the 9 to 5 creative, basically people who work a 9 to 5 but want to be or are currently musicians, and I help them kind of learn about making the best business decisions. And then sometimes I'll work with them as well. So that's kind of a quick summary, but
Hmm.
that's my my history.
Right. Are you were you teaching in person at Berkeley?
So I
Or,
took classes online at Berkeley because it was during the pandemic.
hmm.
And so I went to the online program. And then you could go there like once a year. And then I teach in person at Cal State University Fullerton. I teach music business there. And I've been there
Okay.
now. It will be 8 years in August. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I teach a music production a sampling class with Ableton Live at Berkeley for the
Nice.
online,
Oh, that's
and
great.
I love it. It's been a real. I feel like I learn the most every semester, because you're listening to people's work and how they're interpreting the assignments, and
Yeah.
just being exposed to different styles of music, different approaches, and also just in our live classes when they ask questions, you go, "Oh yeah, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, let me." And even if you
Exactly.
don't know the answer, you wind up doing the research so you can help them out later.
Exactly.
Teaching is a great way to learn
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah, I love it. I tell my students the first day of class, the last day of class, I say, the first day I say, I'm going to learn as much from you all as you all going to learn from me. And then the last day of class, like, see, I learned as much from you as you all learned from me. And so I agree with you. The questions,
Mm,
we got to put in the parking lot because I got to come back to them and do research. So, and then just to learn about like their musical taste, the musicians that they're feeling, how they really, it's like technology. What are they using to like discover music, keep track of it? How they use technology, like, you know, when I was like, I'll say coming up, but when we heard a song we liked, we try to Shazam it or write down the cover, the title of it. But now they'll just remember a lyric and type in the lyric into Google, and that's how they find
mm.
songs. It's so fascinating, just how different they do research. So they teach me about these different apps. There's one, I have to find the name of it, where instead of doing a website, you'll just have like a splash page, and you can kind of engage with the artist that way because it'll take you to different links. My students were the one that told me about Lalo first in terms of texting and everything. So every class, I'm writing down notes and taking notes for sure.
Is that like a link tree type of site where
The
they?
splash page, yes.
Yeah.
Lalo is doing the direct text messaging to your fans, and that's how you collect their cell phone numbers and engage with
Mm,
them. The two I've kind of discovered that work well is like Laylo, and I use Subtext because I'll send out music business news like twice a
mm.
week. And Subtext is also a good one that's pretty popular with musicians. You also have Community, and then the one that Ryan Leslie created, his is Superphone, I believe.
Wow. So these are all direct to the cell phone text message.
Yeah,
Okay. So
yeah,
I've always found email to be the most effective way to reach people. I mean, social media posts now, especially maybe back in the day when we first started social media, when you got the chronological feed, people would see your stuff. But once it became algorithmic and boosting the posts,
yeah,
suddenly you're getting no eyes. But email was at least consistent. But even email is so polluted with
yeah,
spam and stuff. But right to the phone that's pretty cool. That's very
yeah.
direct.
That will, if you can get a supporter's phone number and they give it to you, that's very precious.
Mm,
I still think email is valuable, although there's a lot of noise, because at least you own your email list. Like one thing I teach and train my artists is like, let's find a good lead magnet for you to put on your website so you can incentivize people who are visiting to just give you their email address, whether it's be an a cappella version of a song, or maybe it's a PDF of how to produce a certain beat or add a filter, something of value that you can get their email address, and that way you can create more direct one-on-one conversations. If you can also get their cell phones at the same time, that's even more valuable because then you can really talk to them directly, and that's what you'll see some big artists do because you want to get them into your ecosystem, into your kind of
mm,
community, and grow from there.
mm. I would imagine that that's not a direct link back to your cell phone though.
No, you would use like a special phone, like Subtext. They give you kind of a burner phone, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, yeah, Yeah.
because I can see how that could be
Yeah.
really good up to a certain level,
Yeah.
and then it's like, oh my god, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I have to imagine there's probably different rules and etiquette to that kind of communication, as opposed to, I mean, social media. You can kind of blast and
Yeah.
spam because they'll look at it if they want to, and they'll see it if they want to. Email is a little more delicate,
Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
would have to
So,
imagine cell phone, text message.
hmm
Any
yeah.
do you find there's any kind of convention with that? Is there a certain type of message you might send on a cell phone
I
compared
think it's
to,
got to
say, an email?
be quick and to the point and random. Like, if you have a new song coming out and you're offering your fans early access, you can say, okay, you've got 48 hours to listen to this track before the rest of the public sees it. And people like that because that's insider access. So it's really sharing, much less so selling. However, if
Mm,
you have a concert that or show that's coming up, and the good thing about cell phones is you can geo target it. So say you have a show coming up in Atlanta, you can say, okay, for all my people who have like are based in Atlanta, let me send them a text message saying, okay, pre-sales are going to open in 36 hours for my concert that's going to be Atlanta at this place. If you're interested, hit this link and get access. So if it's short, directed to the point, and you're not spamming people, but it offers value quickly and gives them that insider feeling, then it works. But it can't just be
mm,
little things here and there about, oh, just put up a new post on Instagram or like this or like that. It's got to be really purposeful and really provide that feeling of being a VIP.
mm. Do you recommend any kind of frequency to that kind of communication?
It depends on how often you're putting out content, like releasing new music or you're having shows. So weekly can work if you have a lot of stuff coming out, but at least once a month so people don't forget about it either. So
Mm,
you kind of want to work that balance between a week to a month and just make sure it continues to be purposeful and you have a good call to action so they can take action.
hmm. That's kind of the new funny world we live in, right? Where you get forgotten about.
Yes.
You don't come out with new music in a year and forget it. You're off the
Yeah.
radar. Whereas in the past, you could go a couple years. It was sort of understood. An
Yeah.
artist might take some time, but not so much. I guess you don't get to make those big concept albums and
No,
then show up out of nowhere.
unless your
Very
name
few
is
artists.
unless your name is Rihanna, then you don't have to come up with any music and you're getting more streams and you're getting, growing. She's the exception to the rule, but you have to at least share content, share behind the scenes, even if you're not releasing music, but you're still having activity. Maybe have a
Mm,
show here, a show there. Just show that you're still getting the work done, and that will really put your fans at ease to let them know that you're still doing work. They still can see what you're up to, and maybe you release. Maybe it's not an official track; it's like unofficial or an EP, or you do a collaboration, or you sing with someone. You just have to show activity consistently in your own cadence. You don't have to bombard people, but they just like the fans like to know that you're still kind of with them on the road, so to speak.
mm.
Yeah,
Yeah, your journey is continuing.
yeah, yeah,
Hmm. And now, yeah, we have a lot of fun, creative ways to do that sort of stuff now. And it doesn't always have to be such a huge production. It
right,
can just be kind of showing up and even, hey, I'm in the studio. Here's the
exactly.
beat we're
Yeah,
putting together.
yeah. You can go live for 5 or 10 minutes. There's it's much easier now. You could say, I'm doing this, or I'm going to this concert, or on vacation. Just kind of let people know you're okay and you're working on things and you're not just, disappearing. Now, some artists can get away with disappearing and coming back completely, but for the majority of artists, you just have to continue to show activity so your fans will continue to support you and be ready.
Yeah, I guess that those are the artists that have really made an impact, a huge splash. They're superstar status,
Yeah,
where the news is chasing them, right?
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah, Rihanna, like you said, someone like
yeah.
that.
Remember
So,
Rihanna? She's got other ventures. She got Fenty, so she got her whole beauty company. She's in movies, so she's created a brilliant kind of just different ways to reach people. So she's not releasing music, but she's been in a bunch of movies. She's got new products coming out. Like she always stays top of mind, and that's kind of the new model for artists. Is like, what else can you do besides your art to really stay top of mind? Whether it's a certain sponsorship opportunity, maybe you're dabbling into acting, maybe you start a podcast, different things you can do to stay top of mind. So it's not always just about singing,
Hmm.
music.
Right. And that this day and age, right, where there's so much content, then whether it's human made or not, there's more than ever. To just show that kind of person side of you, the human side of you, seems to be more important than ever. I think it's our saving grace in the world we're entering,
Yeah.
having humanity and sharing that.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. The more we get into using AI, the more we thirst and desire human experiences
Hmm.
in person, just talking to a real person that is authentic and is not perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, they're interesting. And it's like you said, like for me as a kid, I was wearing like ripped jeans and flannel shirts because I love Nirvana and the
Hmm.
grunge movement, you know?
Yeah.
And Rihanna's got makeup and movies and things that she's doing and fashion. And those are things you don't get with it's not just the content that
Yeah.
you're putting out. It's also the person there. And it's almost always the first question I ask when I hear a song that I like. Oh, who is that?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, who are the
Yeah.
people behind that? And
Right.
I guess that's probably made or break my enjoyment of the music many
Hmm.
times. Like, oh, it's them. Oh, and like you feel bad that you like it. Maybe it's,
Yeah.
for whatever reason, an artist you're not that down with, and suddenly it changes your taste in the song
Yeah.
or makes you like it more. Oh,
Yeah.
cool. That's.
That's funny. That's funny. Yeah.
So, I wonder if you find some connections with DJing and performing like that to also speaking in
Mm.
in conferences or in classrooms or just in that kind of sharing of information. Do you see a similar performance aspect?
Yeah, yeah, definitely with speaking in the classroom. I think one of the most important skills as a DJ, and yet one of the hardest skills to master because it's always changing, is how to read a room. And I think that
Mm,
you have to do the same thing when you're speaking. You have to read the room. When you're teaching, I mean, you definitely have to read the room because if students are starting to kind of doze off, get on their phones, leave, go to the bathroom, like you have to really, really figure out ways to keep people's attention. So I think that's a distinct crossover when it comes to like DJing, performing, to speaking. In addition, like I bring the music to the stage. So whenever I'm speaking, I'm going to be playing music. I prefer to have my turntables up there so that, I tell a lot of stories because I speak about creativity. So I tell a lot of stories and use different groups and artists' journeys to kind of exhibit the point. For example, if I tell a story about persistence, I might talk about the Supremes and how the
mhm,
Supremes were first signed and they were only allowed to clap hands on songs. And then eventually they got through to being able to sing backup. Then they were able to release their own music. They were called within Motown at first the No Hit Supremes, but then they kind of blew up and went on an amazing run. So that's persistence, resilience. I like to tell a story either about the group The Whispers, the R&B group, took them 23 years to get their first Billboard Hot 100 Top 10 song. Even if I'm talking to younger, students, I love to talk about Chapel Roan and how she released Pink Pony Club, then was dropped from the label 5 months later. Then she went home, was so humble she had to work in a drive-through coffee place. Then came back to LA, got signed to a smaller label. Then eventually she kept at it. Her first break was touring on her own, smaller venues. Then she was able to open up for Olivia Rodrigo for her, I think it was the Burn, I forget the name of the tour, Guts tour. And then she was able to kind of continue to grow, got the Grammy for Best New Artist last year. Then her just in November this past year, Pink Pony Club hit over 1 billion streams, and so that was all because she pretty much started putting up YouTubes in 2013 under her real name of Kaylee, and then she just reached a billion streamers on Pink Pony Club 12 years later, which in the
Hmm.
music industry is relatively quick, if we're being honest. Like 12 years is not long, but for her it was long because we like to count the pandemic as dog years. So she was right in it during the pandemic.
Yeah.
So like I just like to tell different stories like that when I speak. So it's always about music, performing. If I don't have my turntables, I have a little stream deck that can stream the music. So that's kind of my long answer to your question about performing and the kind of
Hmm.
differences and what I bring across.
Yeah. Yeah. Reading the room, right? Of course.
Mhm.
What is the reaction going on here?
Yeah, yeah,
That is tough, especially when you have a plan. Uh, as a teacher, I can relate to that. You got the plan and you're just watching it crash
yes.
and
So you
it's
gotta
just
pivot.
not hitting.
You
Yeah.
gotta adjust. One thing that I've learned is that if you have a plan and it's not working for teaching, I always have a couple backup activities, whether it's a video we can watch, whether it's a game we can play. Then if all else fails, everyone loves trivia. So if you can create some trivia questions based on the lesson and give out some prizes, that works well too.
Hmm.
And so just having some backup plans, which comes through experience, because you know it works and what doesn't work. And I try to, for my lessons, I'm not sure how long your classes are. Most of my classes are about an hour and 15 minutes. So I try to break it up in lecture at the beginning because I have their attention then. And then we do videos or something in a group. Then we'll come back and do sharing and talking as a group. Then we'll have an in activity, which is some sort of gamification, and then open Q&A, and then we're finished. So that's 5 or 6 different ways to teach. Some people are good visual learners. Some people are good learning. Some people learn by feeling, touching, experiencing. So if you can touch those each lesson, then you'll get more people involved because they'll know that they're going to have their preferred way of learning as part of the lesson. But that
Hmm.
only came through a lot of learning and a lot of crashing and burning.
Yeah. Well, my Berkeley classes are usually pretty good and pretty good at, nice energy. People want to be there. They paid
Yeah,
money. They're excited,
yeah,
and we're talking about making music. We all love
yeah.
it. So everyone's excited. My day job is high school English teacher. This is
Wow.
a much different crowd.
So you get to practice twice a day. Wow, high
uh,
school English.
I mean, there's no way to hide it, or it's not hidden. They don't care. If,
Yeah,
if they don't not
yeah.
feeling it, they'll put their head down. Like
That's
they don't feel
funny.
bad. They
Yeah,
they got to go to the bathroom. Like
yeah.
mid big moment of lesson. Oh yeah, Johnny, you with me? Okay, can I go to the bathroom? you know,
Oh yeah.
so that
Wow.
all that stuff. But it does teach you about transitioning, changing pace, and
Hmm.
and they don't want to be there, and if you
Yeah,
told them they didn't have to come, even no matter how much they love you, they love your class, like
yeah,
they wouldn't be there.
yeah. That's true. It's funny. High school English. So I use. Do you ever have them read or study like Edgar Allan Poe?
Yeah, sure.
So it's funny because I use Edgar Allan Poe as a way to teach the different types of media that musicians have. So I take Edgar Allan Poe, and we always ask, "What's your favorite Edgar Allan Poe story or book or whatever?" And they'll share what theirs are. And then I say, "Well, take his last name." And when you look at marketing, you have to do you can do paid marketing, which is like ads you buy. You can have owned marketing, which is your website, maybe social media, your email list. And then you can have earned, which is when a magazine will write about you, not for fee or word of mouth. So
Mm.
I will use Edgar Allan Poe so that they remember paid, owned, and earned, and it works very well. So that's my high
Mm.
school English reference
Yeah,
for you.
that's good. It's a good memory tool as
Yeah,
well, just having those seemingly random connections that you're
yeah,
making. you
yeah,
know
yeah.
well, there's an artist who even in his day, really did not see the fame, and
Mhm.
I don't think he died knowing we'd be talking about him and we'd be
Yeah,
reading him in classrooms.
yeah. Very true. Yeah,
Sometimes that's the way it goes, persistence or something.
yeah,
you know, he,
exactly. Yeah.
but he did build quite the body of work.
We
Like
like that word, body of work. Yes, he put the
yeah,
work in, released all his art, and it kind of when you plant seeds in a garden, his garden grew to be very, very lush over time.
So how do you bring that up with your whether it's in your seminars or your students, this concept of body of work? Probably especially because I would guess a lot of those people are pretty early in their career, so they're eager and they want
Yeah.
everything to be the thing, and probably
Yeah.
putting a lot of weight on everything they're doing.
Well, I try to use different examples of musicians they can relate to show them what's possible. So a lot of, especially the younger generation, they love Taylor Swift. But I'll
Hmm.
show them just how many albums she's released, what else she's released in between the albums, the ups and downs she's gone through to try to get back her songs, the dispute she had with Spotify when she took her music off. So then they can see, okay, she's been releasing music for a good, 15, 20 years. She's got this album, that album, she's telling a story, that's her body of work. Then we'll take, an artist that maybe is a little bit more underground that they like, and I'll say, let's look at their body of work. And they might have one album, one or two albums out. They're releasing a third single. But then I also talk about, well, let's look at their tour. So let's see where they've gone on tour. Did they go on to a nightclub tour? Okay, what cities did they visit? Then did they graduate to go to an opener for maybe a small amphitheater? Okay, so they're adding to their body of work. Then let's add in their merchandise. What's some of their early merch they've had? T-shirts, hoodies, stickers. This is all part of their body of work. They've kind of growing, graduating along the way. So they see that. Then we'll go to someone maybe very famous. Like we use Dolly Parton a lot as an example because she has got an amazing body of work
Hmm.
between being a songwriter, a performer, a host, owning an amusement park, being in movies, writing movies, having a TV show, albums in different genres that she was dipping into. So I say, okay, let's look at her body of work, and then we see. And so I show them that. And then we have an activity, particularly in class. I'm sure you've seen kind of the little memes or challenges where you have $10 to spend and you must pick four artists, and there's some in the $5 and the four and the three and the two. So I have four or five of them I used. I have one for all female artists. I say, okay, you have a female supergroup. Who are you going to pick? And so what really gets them is that I'll say, who do you want to take out of the grid, or who do you want to move up or down? So like you might have like I think the top of the grid was like Taylor Swift, Beyonce, Dua Lipa, and someone else. But at the bottom you had like maybe Selena Gomez, Brandy, Jasmine Sullivan, and some other people. So let's say, oh no, we need to move Jasmine Sullivan up, or Selena Gomez, you need to take her off and add this artist on. And I say, why? And I say, okay, well, this artist, she's got this album that came out, this album that came out, and that. So, okay, you're talking about their body of work, basically, and what they're done
Hmm.
and what they're doing. So when it gets to like body of work, I try to show them different ways to evaluate it. And if someone gets it when I tell them the story about Dolly Parton, that's good. But someone might get it when I break down and show them the grid, like, oh, I see. Well, this is why Lady Gaga, she's up on the $5 level, because not only does she have the acting, the singing, she has a residency in Vegas, etc. So that's kind of how I teach and show people the different stages in terms of your body of work, but the importance of it. The best example is that I say, okay, you know that Dolly Parton, she was very, very young in her career when she wrote I Will Always Love You. And then I say, there was a time period in the middle where Elvis Presley wanted to cover that, but he wanted to take all the publishing from it. And Dolly was like, absolutely not, because that's where the
Hmm.
money is, the long money is. But then Whitney Houston came along and they were able to come to an agreement, and the song makes her more money than any song she's ever produced. So you can see how something early on in your body of work can pay off later. You just have to own
Hmm.
all the rights. So then they learn about publishing and things like that. So I try to show them different examples, but get them to experience it along the way too.
I did not know that about Elvis. I mean, and
Yes,
to turn down Elvis of
yes,
all people, that
because
takes. She is cool, man.
yes,
I,
amazing human being. Yes.
it's a great documentary I saw on her recently, and I was just like,
Oh,
"What?"
let me know, because I read about her, but I would love to watch a documentary.
Yeah, I got to figure out what it was called. It was a couple months back. Relatively new documentary, but you just left it being like, "What a badass
Yeah,
person!"
yeah, yeah.
Really
Very
just
rare.
real through it all. So real too, not
Yeah.
not on another wavelength where she's unrelatable. Just she's a regular person,
Hmm.
but
Yeah.
brilliant. brilliant
Yeah.
songwriter
Agreed.
and business person too. Because I don't know if there's a lot of people that would tell Elvis, nah, you can't cover my song if you,
Yeah.
because Elvis could probably do almost anything he wanted. And
Basically,
yeah, for that to come along with Whitney Houston that was like the biggest song ever when it came out. And
it was. Yes.
I heard a story about her, which I don't know if it's completely true, but I like to believe it's true because this is something that I can use to motivate myself when I need motivation. That
Okay.
she wrote that song and Jolene in the same day.
I would believe it. Yeah. Now, do you know
Um,
why she wrote that song? Do you know why she wrote "I Will Always Love You"?
no, I don't.
So she used to be on a TV show and be the co-host with Porter Wagner, and he brought her on as like her co-host, and they would also have music and produce music and do the show.
She's leaving, right?
And she was leaving, and he was very
Yeah,
mad and wouldn't speak to her. So the only way she could get her message across to him was to write that song. So that song is really her letter to
yeah.
him.
I think that's in the documentary.
Yeah,
Actually, now
yeah,
that you mention it,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I don't know if I even heard it in the documentary or just kind of myth and legend, but that she wrote them in the same day, and that is the thing that helps me a lot. Those days when I got time to make the music, but it's like I don't know, I'm tired. Maybe I'll
Yeah,
sit on the couch today, you
yeah,
know, because I really believe that each time you sit down to create something is different. So if after we speak, I've just spoken to you, I'm at a certain energy level, maybe the coffee that I'm drinking now is still kind of kicking and feeling good after having a nice conversation, I'm a different me than I will be, say, tomorrow morning. And what I'm going to write is going to be different. And whether I'm with people, and that even if they're not writing the song with me,
hmm
just because they're there, it's going to come out differently.
yeah,
So it's like if she didn't sit down that day to
hmm
write, she
yeah,
doesn't have those two songs. I don't know that you write those songs the next day. Like, I think you kind of have to be there at the right time, which is a lot of my motivation to show up and
yes,
kind of
yeah.
remember, like, well, remember what Dolly Parton did,
Oh,
or
yes, that's
something like
true.
that.
And she's prolific, so she's probably
Mm.
still got thousands of songs in the archives that haven't even been released yet. Because she would just write and write, whether she was on the tour bus, in the hotel, at home, on a walk. That's what she first started doing, was writing songs, and she's very skilled at it. So absolutely, I think it's the same thing as like when we're DJing. No two crowds are ever the same. They're
Hmm.
always in a different emotional state, different people, different things going on. So I kind of draw that kind of comparison to what you said.
Mm. Sure, yeah, different day, different news cycle, different venue. Yeah, and
Yeah.
then you're different as the DJ.
Yeah.
You set them up with a different track maybe than you did yesterday. And
Yes.
so,
Yes.
some,
We have our old we have our ones that we can always go to, but we try to set it up in different ways. And then we have to
mhm.
mix in new music too.
Mm.
Yeah.
I think that there's something to that. That when we create, kind of when we do anything, I guess, really, but there's this whole chain reaction of things and ripple effects that all have to come together for something to happen exactly as it does. Almost like our planet, just it's
Mhm.
just the right space, just the right age of the sun, and
Yeah.
all that. All the coincidences have to line up, and I like that way of thinking because I think it adds a little sort of magic to every moment. That
hmm
okay, like I'm going to sit down today, and this is going to be a one shot only, one of a kind moment. Gets me through the procrastination sometimes
Yeah.
because I face that a lot. I love making music like more than anything, but when I have the time to do it, I'm very often like, okay, well, maybe I'll just do the dishes.
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
clean a little because I know I can get that done. I don't know if I'm going to make anything good today, but
Well,
I can accomplish my chores.
they say procrastination is a form of fear. And
Yeah.
so, fear of failure, but fear of success. That's probably one of the bigger fears that people don't consider. Like, how can I do better than what I did yesterday? And when yesterday I made an amazing song, how can I make an even bigger one? So I think procrastination is born a lot from fear.
I agree, and I know it. I
Me
feel it,
too.
and
Me too.
and it doesn't get better. Like, what the hell, you know? Like, I
Yeah.
find my experience. I know what I'm doing more, and this is one of the last video podcasts I did was about that. Like, I've been doing it more and more, and yet it it's not easier. It might even be harder. Maybe I'm thinking about it too much because the first time I pick up a new instrument or try a new plugin or something, it's exciting and I'm playing with it. And I guess the expectation is low because I don't really know how to work it yet. And fun things happen. But then once I learn it, when I get accustomed to it, then it's like, well, you should know what you're doing now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Something good should happen. And then that kind of cloud is hanging over everything I'm doing. And I'm questioning if this is good. Am I doing it? Am I living up
Yeah.
to where I should be at this point?
Yeah.
And not a lot of
That's
good comes out of that thinking.
no, you just gotta kind of, what do they say? Acknowledge it and keep moving forward is the best way. Just acknowledge it. So we're
Hmm.
not gonna pretend it's not there, and then just keep moving forward so it doesn't completely railroad the creative process.
So take a minute, realize it's happening.
Yeah, acknowledge it, and then just
Hmm.
keep moving forward and try to get something done. The same thing happens with writing. Like writing a book, you can get stuck very easily. Like, or you get stuck editing it, which is the same thing as like you're trying to add a filter or add some new things to a song that you're producing or creating. You can get stuck in kind of minutia. Whereas if you would just write and don't edit until the end, that would help because it's the editing and the overthinking in the middle that stops many of us.
Hmm. Yeah, I can see that as an English teacher, someone that likes to write, um,
Yes.
and as a music producer, where you got the loop, it sounded kind of cool, and
Yeah.
then all right, let's start compressing the kick drum, and
Exactly. Yeah. Just
and let's do the fine detail work before we have the whole canvas filled out.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And the best thing you can get at that point is a really cool corner of your canvas or section of your song, and everything
Yeah.
else is empty or still underdeveloped.
Yeah.
I find that with writing, sometimes it's a little bit easier. Well, I'll just read what I wrote yesterday, and I'll
No, don't
fix
do
that
it.
up.
Don't do it. Yes, don't do it. I remember. I wish the book is around me somewhere. I have to get it because I always refer to it. But it's Anne Lamott, and she talks about bird by bird.
Oh, I
And
love that
then,
book.
and
Yeah,
okay, so you know it. So she talks
yeah.
about. I don't like the curse, but she talks about shitty first drafts.
Uh huh.
And so that's what we want. That's what we want to produce. That's good. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
glad you know the book and you like it because it's really, really good, especially for the
It
writing
is.
process.
Sure, and it's all rooted in that story. I think with her father about
Her brother, who's doing a report on the birds, and he was stressed out because
right.
he waited to the last minute. He said, his father told her, just be patient. Let's just take it bird by bird. And they did the project and worked on that. And it's a great metaphor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, one thing at a time, and
Yeah.
it adds up eventually. You know,
This is
it's
true.
like
This
the
is true.
body of work. Like you just keep plugging
Yes.
away,
Hmm.
suddenly you have a body of work. Um, yeah, that book's full of great advice, and
I recommend it to all of my authors, all of them.
mm,
Yeah. All, it should be
yeah,
required reading.
yeah, and it's you can think it's literally about writing, but you can just take that and it's a
Life.
metaphor for everything,
Yeah.
life,
Life.
music, yeah,
Exactly.
all of that stuff. That's a lot of times when I'm talking to people on this podcast, I feel like we're talking about life, but we're doing it through the metaphor of music.
I feel that way already.
Yeah, welcome.
Yes. Thank
Welcome
you.
to the show. This is where we wind up.
Yeah.
What are we really talking about here?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I know that feeling of you want to perfect something and get it good, but it happens a lot in my mixes too, where I'll work on. We got the drum track down. Okay, great. I'm gonna get them sound really good, and yeah, now they sound great, right? But I've filled up the entire frequency range and my dynamic range, and now we got to add the bass and the guitar and the keys and
Mm,
all. There's no room, right?
yeah.
So
Yeah.
I got to dial it back anyway and change everything anyway. And I can very often find myself getting my work into this like moment of completion, but the idea is not there yet.
Yeah.
Just as if I was doing a painting where I'm focusing on this first corner first. And, if you do any painting, you'll never really quite get those colors to match in the other corner, because you're
Yeah.
going to have to start over with your paints. And that winds up happening. And but it is fear. I do agree, because the kind of editing stuff, the technical stuff that comes in when you start EQing and compressing things too early, that's not the artistic. Well, it can be artistic, but it's not the creative part of
No.
writing the
Yeah.
music and making the statements and all.
Yeah. Fear holds so many of us back. Just fear of many, many things, but it's really, really the antithesis of the creative process.
Yeah, it hasn't done so well. I guess sometimes you can channel it a little bit. That and what you said about acknowledge it, I think is helpful. I know sometimes before live performances, I'll notice like, okay, I'm getting a little jittery. So, all right, okay, here it is. I'd like to do like stretches and
Yeah.
like, little warm up exercises. And then, all right, this is going to be part of the, I guess like fertilizer or something for this
Yeah.
show
Yeah.
and put it in there.
I like it. Yeah. That's what you got to do for sure.
Do you find your students have any particular things they either keep coming back to, or like stuff that artists struggle with in particular that you're able to help them through a bit? Any kind of common things that your experience has helped you through?
Yeah, I would say the things that most of my students, whether it be in my class I'm teaching or my coaching students, clients, the fear of what people will think, fear of failure, fear what their friends will think. Those are probably the three most common issues that you try to, because if you're like a fractional artist manager, you're helping them with their creativity, but you're also kind of a therapist too. And so just making sure that they're well aware of the success they've already had. Really, one success is they're showing up and creating, because most people will not show up. They say 80% of the game is showing up. And then if they've had some success in the past, just reminding them of what they've achieved in the past, how well they did. And I feel sharing different stories, like I've shared a few stories with you about different artists, about some of the most famous artists have also struggled too. I think that once people hear that, that kind of will ease a little bit of the fear and will give them some inspiration, because like, okay, well, I didn't know that, Dolly Parton went through this, or Chaperone went through this, or different groups had their struggles. People don't realize that because we don't talk about that, especially nowadays. It's all perfectly curated on Instagram and TikTok and everything. But if you share stories, personal stories too, I tell them about how I mentioned it briefly in the beginning, like how I was at Scratch Academy and I didn't pass the last class. I missed it by 2 points. So I had to take it over again. It was very humbling. Everyone knew, but I was able to kind of check my ego at the door, come back, be of service to everyone in the class, and get one of the highest scores ever for the final class, which there was no guarantee that I would pass because it's very subjective. We're performing. And just how you just said it, like I could be having a bad day. Maybe I got in a fight with like, a girlfriend, or maybe, something happened and a family member is sick, so you're distracted. There's no guarantee that life is going to be perfect for you to perform. So if I tell them the story about that, and then I might show them a video, reading different autobiographies. One of my favorite autobiographies from an artist is Charlie Wilson from the Gap Band, and how he went from being very, very famous in the Gap Band to being homeless on drugs to now he's, at a very high level again. I just think that a combination of all that, particularly stories, letting people talk, letting them kind of analyze their fear, maybe even write about it, and then just continue to remind them of their success, which people seem to forget quickly. That's what I've used for all my coaching clients to help them get through some of their tougher times.
Yeah, the public opinion, the friend opinion, even the family opinion.
Family
That
opinion,
can
that's
be-
the hardest, yeah.
Yeah, because I guess something that I've run into myself is this idea of sort of getting like psychoanalyzed by your art, where 'cause I like to play around with characters in the songs, and they might be thoughts I had, but I don't necessarily believe it. But I'm playing around and exploring it and trying it on for size, and maybe even making a little fun at it. But I don't want to have somebody be like, "Oh, so what's going on with you, man? I heard what you said in that song,"
Yeah.
or like wonder, like, "Hey, what is that? Is that about me?" or something like
Yeah.
that. Where sometimes it's wordplay, sometimes it's just, yeah, there's that thing going on, and that character exists somewhere in
Yeah.
here. But I also know he's an idiot. But he's the star of the show today in this
Right.
song, um, and yeah, that can be a big one. I
Yeah.
find that a lot, and I've noticed that with people too. That they're like, well, I don't know if I want to put this one because it's going here and there and
Yeah.
tricky waters to navigate.
Yeah. But I would always urge people to just release it, because the people that you think are thinking about you, they're not thinking about you.
Yeah.
And so just put it out there, because it can also really, really resonate with someone who needs to hear it. So
Mhm.
um, don't let them, I forget the right word, but don't prevent them from having access to the song because you're worried about someone else who might not even be thinking about it.
Yeah.
So yeah. Yeah.
So often the case. There's that
Hmm.
old expression. Like when I was a kid, I was worried what everyone thought about me. And when I was like an adult, I stopped caring. And then when I got old, I realized no one was thinking about me in
Yeah,
the first place.
exactly. Yeah.
Anyway.
The sooner you realize that, the better. Yes.
Yeah. Right. Um, I've found the body of work a good way around that. Just flood
Mm-hmm.
it, put as
Yes.
much as out there. So
Keep
you
creating,
got,
keep putting work out there, and the bigger the body of work, the less you'll be worried about what people think, because there'll be so much out there. You'll be so focused on putting more things out, have less time to worry about it or think about it.
I wonder if you have some thoughts or approach on people. I see people like this sometimes, especially through Berkeley, because now they've paid money, right? Sometimes people that have paid money for lessons and consulting and all of that, they're very invested in it. And sometimes those are the people that produce and release the least amount of work. They're
Mm,
working at it all the time, but they never quite take it to the finish line. And it's like, yeah, obviously you're invested. You're spending a lot of time and money in this.
yeah,
So what's going on? And that's I think it's a case by case thing, but I wonder how
yeah,
you approach that
yeah.
kind
We
of
like to call that
person.
like the art of finishing.
Hmm.
And so I kind of put that as a parallel, because you'll see a lot of people who will invest. They'll buy these classes, they'll invest in equipment, and they never take action. That happens a lot. Like they're so worried about buying the next, amp, or the best microphone, or this new software, or these new plugins, but they never ever take action, or they take action but never finish. They love to start a project and never finish. And this is also true in life. People will talk about, I need to lose weight, I need to eat better, I need to get a new job, I need to stop talking to this person, but they never do it. Once again, fear of the process, fear of failure. So I love to live by the mantra of done is better than perfect. So I really try to encourage and coach and work with my artists and my people to, let's just finish something. Let's finish something, put it out, check it, and move on to the next. And I try to kind of walk them along the way of, okay, we try to set up in small steps. Okay, so say if we're writing a song, we're producing a song. Okay, we've written the lyrics. Check. All right, let's come back tomorrow. Let's write some harmony. Check. Let's write some melody. Good. Okay, now let's maybe create and just look for a reference track. That's all we're going to do today is we're going to look for a reference track of what you want the song to sound like. Okay, we got a couple. Good. Now let's try to sing and produce and add drums to it. And maybe one day we add drums. Let's add some strings another day. Now we're going to sing vocals. Now let's sing the ad libs. I find if you divide things up into little steps, it's like we were small, we were playing Super Mario Brothers, and we go from one level to the next level to the next level. Same way, we love the ways our brains are wired. We love accomplishing things, love gamification. So if we can set up
Mm.
like a game, and like we have 20 steps to get to, let's go to level one, level two. Okay, we're going to pause at level two. Let's go out and get your favorite cup of coffee from Starbucks. It could be a sweet mocha, whatever. That's good. We did that today. Then we come back. It could be the next day, next week. We do 3, 4, and 5. Okay, let's go to your favorite restaurant for breakfast. That a lot of things that I love around food. But maybe you get to level 10. Okay, now we can reward yourself. You can buy something. Just set up small steps that are easy to accomplish that help you celebrate wins. You get a win, you're more encouraged to keep coming back and doing more. So if I like to set that up with my people that I work with because it really keeps their inspiration high and their motivation high. And then we finish things and we just set up little games and do it that way. That's what I've seen help people both finish and then help people take action. And I think those are the two things I just see more and more nowadays. People just love to talk about doing something but never take action or they can't finish. So that would be kind of that's what I do to help them along the process.
Yeah. Well, all that stuff feels like making progress. Like, oh, I got the new mic and now it's going to sound great. Well, I got to learn how to use it now. So now I'm still being productive because I'm learning it, right?
Yeah.
Well, if I got the mic, I probably need the amp, and I need.
Yeah.
So let me learn how to get this thing, and we're still doing stuff, but kind of not doing stuff at the same time.
No, we gotta do this stuff and get things done for sure.
But that's the nice approach. It's the kind of victory. It's a little bird by birdish, right?
Yeah.
One step
there you
at a
go.
time. And,
great parallel. Nice callback. Nice callback.
But you're also, like you said, highlighting those victories. Like, well, hey, look, we got to here. We did these. We did this. We did something today. We made progress. And it is important to point that out. Probably we would all love to show up one day and come out with the mastered new #1 hit, right?
Yeah.
But the fact that you got the idea down, you got maybe the sketch, or maybe you got a new track layered. A friend of mine said this to me years ago. I think while I was working on the first solo album I ever made, it's like he said, like, I know if each day I just record one part, eventually I'll have a finished album.
Yeah.
And I kind of took that to heart. I was like, okay, yeah, you're right, because I'm only going to put so many guitars. And at that time, I didn't have infinite tracks.
Yeah.
I was limited to, I think, like 16.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, yeah, that's 16 days, right?
There you go. Yeah.
That's 2 a month, kind of.
Yep. There we go. That's 24 a year. I've found that many of my artists, the songs that they finish that they don't like, a lot of people like it. Like, for some reason, the public will like it. And so that's what you'll hear a lot with artists. The songs that they think are going to be the best singles end up not being the best singles, but the songs that they kind of discounted end up being like really, really good songs that people love. So that's why it's more important than ever to just release it. You never know. You could not like it, but it could really resonate with your fans or a certain group of people, and then you're off and running.
And like you said, it's almost wrong not to share it.
Yes.
There might be that person that really needs it. Yeah, maybe I was not connecting with it completely, but it hit on something for someone else. Sometimes too, you listen back to your old stuff and you're like, oh, whoa. Like, I was like looking in the future here because this is where I'm at now.
Yeah. I agree.
That point though, when I start getting in my head, creating and thinking like, is this any good? Like, oh no, this chords are kind of basic and, I need to be more clever. I think sometimes to those artists, they don't even know when they're doing it in the moment anyway. They didn't think that was going to be the hit song.
Yeah.
So even when you're actually doing it, you don't know. So it's almost pointless to even think about.
If we looked at the B-sides of singles, particularly back in the day, the B-sides of singles that ended up being bigger than the single, we could write encyclopedias. There's so many. Yes, there's so many.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of back in the day, the B-sides. And nowadays we have less B-sides because they just release things singly. But even some of the more hidden tracks on an EP could end up blowing up years later. I mean, just look at Pink Pony Club. This song came out in April of 2020. It took that song 5 years, but then it kind of blew up and got 1 billion streams. Like, the record label saw it wasn't doing well in 5 months and dropped her. They kept working the song, and 5 years later, it really kind of hit the stratosphere. That's a good example of what happens sometimes.
Yeah, I didn't know that. And yeah, it was like one day.
Yeah.
Chappelle Rowan Who
Yeah.
is this Pink Pony? Like, why is everyone talking about this? Where did this come
Yeah.
from?
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
figured it just came out.
No, that's what many people think. Like I have this video. It was on social media. I use it in my speeches and kind of to close out this portion of the story. It shows her, I think she was at Auburn University, and she was playing her Casio keyboard and singing that song in about 40 or 50 people. People weren't even paying attention to her. Then it fast forwards to when she's singing that song at Lollapalooza, 150,000 people in Chicago, and the crowd is chanting and everything. And it's just an amazing, you get goosebumps when you watch it. It's an amazing video. And that just shows you the progress. And that was 5 years. It took more than 5 years.
Yeah, that is wild. One of my favorite things about YouTube is you can go back and look at the artists like before they were big.
Yeah.
This video I watched recently of Rage Against the Machine
Oh,
playing
nice.
at like just a fair,
Yeah.
like no one's there really. And you're just like, whoa, like how do they not know this is, but no one knew yet.
No one knew.
And
Yeah.
it was, the fuse was lit. It was
Yeah.
getting close to the bomb,
Yeah.
but it just hadn't gone off yet. But you see it, everything is in place. There's a lot of good stuff of seeing artists just before, and in hindsight, you can recognize, oh, of course, look at this.
Yeah. Yeah.
But in those moments, and it's like, I guess, 5 years is a long time, but ask Edgar Allan Poe, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
he didn't
5
even
years
get
is
it in his
not
lifetime.
really, when you're looking at it's not really a long time. Like I think,
Yeah.
what's the saying? I heard Tony Robbins say this one time. People, I want to say they overestimate what they can do in a year, but underestimate what they can do in 10. I think that's the saying.
Something
so
like that, yeah.
That's very similar to, I wonder who said that, because that has to be someone, I'll have to Google that, see who said that, but it's very true. Very true.
Yeah, I've heard that sentiment, that
Yeah.
it's like compound interest or something.
Yeah.
Kind of applies that way too. You think you're not making any money saving.
Yeah.
Don't take financial advice from me because I'm not investing anything in anything. But I've heard people say that's how it works.
Yeah. Well, remember the whole thing is if you get a penny a day, it compounds and soon you have like $1 million. I think a penny a day over 30
Yeah.
days or something there's some
It double
math.
it or
You
right.
double it every day.
Tomorrow you get 2. Tomorrow next day you get 4.
For after the end of 30 days, you have like a lot of money, I want to say.
I remember learning that in grade school,
Yeah.
and then asking my parents, "Hey, instead of like my $1 a week allowance, what if you just gave me a penny every day?" And then the next day gave me 2.
Yeah.
They're like,
Yeah.
"Get out of here."
When back then it could have helped,
Yeah.
could have bought you another amp.
Then I'd have to learn that amp.
Well said. Well said.
Oh, good. Then I can avoid the scary stuff.
We don't want that. Maybe no amp then. No amp.
Yeah. I'm a big believer these days in working real fast too, for this reason, just to accumulate that body of work and things. I like not giving myself the time to really question things. Just make.
Yeah.
I definitely think there's something to be said of spending your time and crafting something. I just really find I am often going through that process, of going through all the levels of Super Mario Brothers
Yeah.
as often as possible. I'm sure you could get through that first level of Super Mario Brothers with your eyes closed.
Yeah.
if you played it all. I've had my high school students play that game, and they
nice.
run right into the first bad guy. I'm like, what? Like every person I know my age is laughing at you, right? But we've done that so many times. But you get to that last level, and it's much harder. Things get tricky, and it's like in music and creating something is we don't get to that last level until the end, and if we don't get to the end, we never exercise that muscle, and we don't get good at it. But when I'm working fast and I'm doing that consistently, like I get in a flow, and like that last level is as easy as that first part. I jump right over that bad guy in the beginning, just like I do the final boss,
Yes, and you save the princess. Yes.
Yeah.
But repetition helps. You've done it so much. It's like, it's like a strong muscle now.
But it's like a muscle, because as soon as you miss a day at the gym,
yes,
you're going backwards now.
You gotta keep
you gotta
keep working the muscle.
The
Just like
treadmill's always
creativity.
going.
Just like creativity is a muscle. You got to keep working that too. Otherwise, you'll become stagnant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you like the world as a writer? You got a couple books, and there's a nice form of torture you put yourself through, right?
Oh,
Writing.
yes.
That's
That is
another
not only
dimension of
writing is
hell.
torture, but then the whole releasing of the book process. Like when you finish writing it, you're only a third of the way done because then you have to do all the editing, then you have to release the book,
Mm.
then you have to promote the book, and that doesn't end for years. So the first time, my first book, writing really kind of tripped me up because when I got my first edits, I took it very personal.
Mm.
And it cost me about 4 or 5 months in the process where I just put it down, didn't even want to look at it. And, as a result, my book came out in April 2020, in the middle of the pandemic. Whereas if I had checked my ego, maybe it would have come out sooner. I could have had a little bit more success early on. But that was a very valuable lesson because when my second book came around, which took me overall 4.5 years to do the research and writing and finish and release, when I got the edits back, I did them right away. Checked my ego,
Mm.
said, okay, I trust you. I believe you. What do I need to do? Made the edits, which were significant, added what I needed to add, and kept the process going. And so I suffered everything we've talked about today. I suffered through writing the second book, Imposter Syndrome. Who am I to write a book about R&B groups when there are many, many, many people out there who are more knowledgeable than me? Um, you know, who am I to call it the quiet storm when that's like a celebrated radio format, but it actually worked out good that I called it that. And just all sorts of things. Fear. What if no one buys the book? What if I don't, and these are metrics that aren't really important, but what if I don't get on the USA Today bestseller list? That really caught me up for like the last month because I was working really hard, texting people, messaging, doing press on like TV, podcast interviews. What if I'm doing all this work and I don't make the list? What if I do all this work and it's a flop? So even still, I just kept at it. I said, okay, I acknowledge it. Just keep at it. I had good people around me supporting me too. And that's another thing in the creative process. Like if you have people around you that aren't good for your creativity, it will stop you. I remember for me, I had someone around me I was dating that was not good for my creativity. And I had to get away from that person and eliminate that person from my life so that I could keep the creativity and start back again. It took me about a good year and a half. In that 4.5 years, from the time I finished my thesis, which was December 2021, and then for me to start writing again, I went to a wedding let me think here. I went to a wedding in Chicago. I want to say it was summer of 2023. And so in that time period, I had written a little bit. I probably got 20 or 30% of the work done just in that 2022 to like 2023 time process. But I was stuck. So then I got that person out of my life. Then I went on this writing retreat. So I went to the wedding a week early, Minnesota. The wedding was in Chicago. And I wrote for all week and probably finished 60% of that book at that time period.
Mm.
And that was the ignition to really keep me off and running. I finished the rest at home, sent it to editing, the whole editing process, and all that. So by the time I sent it to editing, it was probably April or May of 2024. And we went through the process of the cover design, adding in some other items. So then February, because I wanted it to come out in Black History Month. So then February 2025, the book came out. But that was my journey. And that's why writing can be very torturous, depending on what's going on in your life and how you prioritize.
Mm. I got a couple of quick questions on that.
Talk to me.
Okay. Just for probably humorous sake, when you got your edits back, how much? Most of it is probably cutting it out, right? Like too much. How much did you submit, and how much did you receive back?
Great
How many
question.
pages or word count
Okay.
or something like that?
For this book here, I had turned it 131,000 words approximately. That's a lot of words.
And
They
you've
cut it.
typed every one of them, right? So
Yes,
you
yes.
care about them all.
So you get it. You get it. They
Yeah,
cut
you
it
push
down to
that
probably about,
keyboard a million
yeah,
times to make that.
they cut it down to probably about 82,000 words.
Okay, so that's what? That's almost,
That's probably,
it's
they
like
cut it
30,
about
40%.
30%, 35%. But what happened is that I had included lyrics in the book, and you can't do that. You need the rights to include lyrics. I
Mm.
didn't have them. So they cut that down, but then I added back certain sections that were missing. So it came back up to about 89, 90,000 words. It's like a 500 word book. I mean, the book is pretty, you can see how thick it is. The book is pretty thick here on the camera. You see how thick this book is. It's not a little
Mm-hmm.
book. So that was this one here was 90,000 words for 131. My first book, I think I turned like 54,000 words. They cut it down to 27, almost half, 30, maybe
That's fine.
30,000. And then I added back to 60, it was probably about 35,000 for the first book. So that's kind of what I turned in to what ended up being the final product. But it's beautiful. The editors were right. It works. I have no regrets.
Well, that's an outside perspective of somebody who didn't push the buttons
Yes.
on the keyboard
Yeah.
over and over again, right? So they
Yeah.
can be brutal. They can be real and objective.
Yeah.
Whereas we get a little bit, I think it's like music too, you know, you hear a lot of groups writing, we wrote 50 songs for this record and we got 10 or
Yeah.
whatever. But it is a little tough when you're the one. It's even tracks in a song. I got this track, this song has 80 tracks and I love them all. You know, I
Yeah.
programmed them
Yeah.
all. And then sometimes someone else listens like, why don't you just take that out? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
this would be better without those 20 tracks. And you're like, what?
Yeah.
I've had that feeling with my band, doing vocals and getting these cool effects. And they're like, what would it sound like if you took all those effects off? I'm like,
Yeah.
that's not going to be possible, guys.
Yeah.
That's 3 days of work. And then they were right. You're like,
Yeah.
so you definitely have to, I guess, like you said, check your ego and also just see that nothing's really precious.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you cut it out, and sometimes less is more.
Mm-hmm. Preach.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then the other thing I wanted to ask you too is like kind of a funny thing like that. I'm forgetting what I wanted to say now.
So was it about?
For you?
So you asked me the questions about cutting the words out. Was it about like getting people? Was it about the writing retreat? Was it about getting people?
It was about the writing retreat, actually.
Okay.
Yes. What was it about the writing retreat that was able help you to get going? And like, what are you doing in a writing retreat anyway?
Yeah.
Like, what are is it activities? Is it just sit in a room?
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Thank
like
you.
in my office, of course, I get it. In my office, I would have these screens up. I'd have, the phone around. I'd be around where there's lots of easy distractions. When I took myself away from my office, so there were no distractions, I, didn't have my dog to worry about. I was in a place where I knew no one. I just had to go somewhere to get meals. It's isolation. So you don't have to go from California to Minnesota. You can go on a staycation where it's very difficult for you to get distracted by everyday things or notifications. So that was the first thing. I would use the Pomodoro method where I would write for 20 minutes, then take a 5-minute break. And I would do that morning, then I'd go somewhere for lunch. I'd come back, I'd do that in the afternoon, take a break, go for a walk, finish out a little bit, then dinner. And it was just that routine with no distractions. And there's like I'm not in a big city where, I can go see my friend Jeremy, I can go see my friend Eric or Josh or Tina or whatever. Like no distractions and no temptations. So I was just focused on writing, was able to go walk, get a little sunlight, although it's kind of chilly even in July for Minnesota. And it was just the elimination of almost all distractions. And that's what was really beneficial.
Were you alone? Was it
Yes.
some kind of, okay, so this
Solo
was like
trip,
a
yes.
self-imposed.
Yes.
Okay.
Like
Right.
I flew from LA to Minneapolis. I then took another flight from Minneapolis to Duluth. I drove from Duluth, Minnesota, 2 hours to Grand Marais, Minnesota, right on Lake Superior, and went to an Airbnb. And so I was far from anything and anybody. It was like a little town. And so then I would go down to the town center to eat my meals, and that was it. Yeah.
So by this time you'd already written one, so you understood how
Yeah.
things get in the way.
Yes.
Yeah, no, it's very true. And especially for us producing music on computers or typing on computers, the entire human collection of knowledge is at your fingertips. It's
Yeah.
so tempting. And you can trick yourself and be like, well, I'll just look up how to like use this device that I'm playing around. And next thing you know, you're watching dogs
Exactly. You're down the rabbit
running in
hole.
circles, chasing their tails. And
Exactly. Yes.
you don't know where you got here and what time
Yeah.
is it. Yeah. Okay. I mean, it's true. I think there's been a big movement in musicians to get these like kind of groove box type things
Hmm.
that are not connected to a screen or a computer, and people like that a lot because you're not like that, a little mouse movement and a
Yeah,
click away
yeah.
from
It's
the
dangerous.
the floodgates of
Yeah,
entertainment and
yeah, yeah,
distraction.
yeah.
Hmm.
Dangerous.
Yeah, that's. I know you're right because I've watched all of these little routines in my life creep in, checking my
Hmm.
email, certain websites I like to look at, the news, the YouTube. Let's see who published a new video I can learn
Yeah.
something from. And the
Hmm.
education part is brutal. It's such a brutal, false thing in that you think you're working towards something, but you're
Yeah,
just hiding from it.
I agree.
Of course, it's important to learn stuff, but it's so much more important to learn it by doing it.
Yes. Action. Doing. Action
Yeah.
is the key.
Because it's so passive. You're just watching someone. Oh, yeah, I like what they did, and I could do that one day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm. Ah, I would love to do that actually sometime. Just that's like kind of there's so many great albums that have been made that way too.
Hmm. Yeah.
You see stories of artists going away and just dropping off. It's also maybe in some way too. It could be a little bit of a like you don't need to do that, right? You can also discipline yourself. Like you said, you
Hmm.
don't have to fly across the country,
Yeah.
but maybe on occasion, it's not a bad idea. I
Yeah.
forget what an author, I don't know if it was Toni Morrison or somebody, who would go in a hotel room
Oh,
and just,
Maya Angelou.
was it Maya Angelou?
She would go to a hotel room. She would take a bottle of sherry, a Bible, and sit there and write
In a
in
hotel room, like
in a hotel room.
nothing to
Yes,
do. Yeah,
nothing to do
not
but a
exciting.
bottle of sherry, a Bible, and just write.
Hmm.
Yeah,
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 that's pretty cool.
yeah,
You
yeah,
just sort of force yourself. And I'm sure you probably faced some demons in there, right? Was it
yeah.
ever hard to just, um, was it hard to get into that routine, hard to stick to that routine?
Yeah, well, by the time I knew I was struggling, so that's why I really made the effort to go on the writing retreat because prior to that, I was struggling. It was hard to get into the routine, too many distractions, starting, stopping.
Did you say a week? Was that what you said?
Yeah,
It
yeah,
was a
like
week long?
5 days, 4 nights. So it was like 5 days, four
Hmm.
nights of just writing. And before that, it was really, really difficult to get in the routine. I was struggling, so I had to do something. So yes, that was my answer to that issue, that challenge.
Hmm. See, I face this a lot when we as teachers go on summer vacation.
Oh yeah,
And it's like, I got all this time. I got
yeah,
to do everything. And you wind up just kind of wasting a lot
yeah,
because you feel like you have too much. And I think maybe 5 days is a little bit more nice, tighter time
yeah.
frame,
Right.
because you can't say like next week or
No, no,
tomorrow.
no. We
It's
had to.
yeah.
It was go time. And then I came back. I still had about 15% left to do, but I was able to get that done because I was so encouraged by the progress I made that I
Hmm.
was able to come back and kind of finish and turn the first draft in. Then you get first edits and all things, but that was the first kind of domino. Once you turn the first draft in, majority of the writing is basically done. You might have to make edits, but that was really, really important to get me to the next step.
Hmm.
And if I had not taken that trip, I don't know. I don't think the book would have been out last year. It might still have been a while.
Yeah. Well, you gave yourself a really big victory,
Hmm.
and
Yes.
that can, yeah, those get you going. Like when you
Yes.
when you start to feel it and see it coming together. It's similar. It's the other side of the coin of when you stop and you start taking time off and it feels impossible to get back to it.
Yeah. Because, in teacher world, we look up and it's already August, time to go back to school.
Yeah, it is. And you're
Yeah.
like, damn, I was gonna make 3 albums this summer.
Yes.
All I did was like eat popcorn and watch TV.
Yes. Yes.
Hmm. That's cool stuff. Well, I gotta imagine it's a pretty cool experience to be one of your students to be in your workshops and get some consultation from you,
Yeah.
because you have a real welcoming, friendly, encouraging disposition to you that
Thank you.
really comes through in online, but especially in speaking with you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Um,
Yeah.
you make it feel like it's not impossible, because sometimes it does.
Hmm.
Sometimes it's like, how does anyone do anything, you know?
Yeah.
So where can we tell people to go? Where do you like to send them so that they can
Yeah.
start finding some of your work, getting into some of the coaching maybe, or
Yeah.
even the books?
Yeah, for particularly coaching, you go to my website, amaniexperience.com/call, and you can send me a note and we can get on a free call and talk about it. My website has all the information, amaniexperience.com. You can also go /coaching. That's where you can see the coaching program. I share my videos about book and facts and stuff on Instagram and a little bit on TikTok. And I'm really probably the most active on LinkedIn. But I like to direct people to the website, and then you can pick where you want to go from there. Because you can set up a call, we can get on the phone and talk. I can learn more about you. You can learn more about me. And there's a tab for the book there. You can also get the book Amazon, wherever, The Quiet Storm by me, and those are the places where I live and hang out. Join my email list, all the things.
Yeah. And I'm on site now and I can see you've got all those links easy to
Yeah,
find in the top.
yeah. Thank you.
You're practicing what you preach. You didn't
I'm
say,
trying.
find
Yeah,
me on Instagram,
yeah,
because Instagram could change. Instagram could
yeah,
disappear, get bought out, or suddenly
yes,
fall out of favor. And now all your followers are gone and you lost touch. So you did send
yes,
them to your site, which is cool.
yes.
And yeah, it's nicely laid out. So it is pretty easy to find everything there. It,
Awesome.
and I noticed you got the quiz too. So that's
Yes.
sort
Did
of
you
a
take it?
little bit of a hook. I
Yes.
didn't
Take.
take it. I didn't see it the first time I was
Yeah, I
here.
know.
So
I know. Take the quiz. Let me know what R&B group you are.
yeah, what
It's like a
R&B group you are? Yeah,
personality. That's a
that's
fun
fun.
thing. I used that during my book launch to grow my email list. So that was my
Hmm.
lead magnet. If I'm being
Yeah,
honest, I should have promoted it more because it's very popular. People love it when they take it. I still use it. And that's one example I show my artists. Like, this is how I grew my email list. You could do this. You can do I love giving away acoustic songs, acoustic versions of songs, or unreleased music. That's very popular. So I try to practice what I preach, as you said. Absolutely.
yeah,
And
that's
always
evident.
refining and trying to make it better.
Right. Yeah, you don't ever get there, right? You're always on the journey.
Yes.
We're always that making it concept is kind of wrong, I think.
Yes. Yes.
Um, so yeah, it's great stuff. I love the world you've created here, and
Thank you.
really nice to talk to you. And maybe we'll have
Yeah.
to touch base again sometime. And
Absolutely. I'm a big fan of yours. I follow all your videos and things from a long time. I know that they made changes with like Patreon and Dropbox where you weren't able to do what you were able to do before, but I've been following your content for a long time. So thank you to you as well.
oh, thanks. Well,
Yeah.
cool. So go to amaniexperience.com. Thank you, everyone, for listening.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening to the Music Production Podcast. If you want to help support the show, the best thing you can do is tell a friend, someone you think that would enjoy the show. I'd also love it if you could leave a review wherever you get your podcasts. And if you want to support my work, you can go to brianfunk.com. I've got tons of Ableton Live packs, tutorials, samples. You can check out my book, The 5-Minute Music Producer, which gives you 365 short music making activities to help you get started, stay inspired, and finish more music. And there's also the Music Production Club, where you get my latest releases as soon as they're finished. It gives you access to a community of like-minded people who are making music and sharing ideas. You can share your music, find new collaborators, and participate in our live meetings where we set up some kind of musical challenge and then make music together and share our results at the end. That's the Music Production Club. It's a lot of fun, and you can find that and everything that I do at brianfunk.com. Thanks again for listening to the show, and have a great day.